Hi, I'm Jody Rydell, and I'm an agriculture teacher at Wakefield High School, and today I'm going to teach you how to measure the volume of a timber stand. The first thing I want to do is remind you that you need to choose a tree for your students that's of significant height, as well as you want to try to find trees that have a significant diameter. So today we've chosen this beech tree. This is a Biltmore Stick. It was named after the Biltmore Forestry School in Asheville. You can get these from your extension agent, or you could also get them online from the Division of Forestry. What it does is it helps you to measure the diameter as well as the height and then the volume of how many foot logs, 16 foot logs, are in your tree. The first thing we're going to do today is we're going to determine the diameter of the tree, which is located right here on your Biltmore Stick. With your Biltmore Stick, you want to be at a 4.5 foot spot on the tree. This is called your diameter breast height. For me, 4.5 feet is located just about here. If you're shorter, it's going to be up higher. It depends. So you need to measure 4.5 feet on your body. At that point on the tree, you're going to mark 4.5 feet on that tree. Using your Biltmore Stick, you will then line up the edge of your stick on the left hand side, and using your sight 25 inches from the tree, which is the length of this stick, at the 4.5 foot mark, you're going to line up the left hand side, and using your peripheral vision you'll determine how wide this tree is. On here, this shows me that I've reached it to 30. That means that this tree has a diameter breast height of 30 inches. That's 30 inches at 4.5 feet using my diameter. My next step is to determine how many 16 foot logs, a log is 16 feet, how many 16 foot logs, or how high, how tall my tree is. To do this, I'm going to need to stand 66 feet from my tree, and 66 feet is equal to 1 chain. So now I'm going to go 66 feet from the tree. Now that I'm 66 feet from my tree, I'm going to measure how many of these how many foot logs tall my tree is. What I first want to do is I want to hold this Biltmore Stick with the foot log on the left so that it is 25 inches from my eye, which again is the length of the stick. Once I've done that, I want to make sure for hardwoods I measure a foot above, which is the stump height, a foot above, and if it's a softwood, I'm going to go 6 inches. Because that's where we're going to cut our trees. So once I'm a foot above, I'm going to then determine how tall my tree is. On this it says that I'm 1 16 foot log before I start to hit that branching, or before I start to see a curve. If there's a curve in the tree, then I want to make sure that that is not included in how many foot logs there is, because that's not merchantable, it's not harvestable. If I get to a spot where there's branching, that's where we would cut that tree off and no longer use any more of the timber. So I want to make sure that I measure how many foot logs. And for larger trees, this beech has branching only 1 foot log, so I'd only get 1 foot log of this tree. Now to determine how much volume I have, just with any other mathematical equation, I take the height times the width. We determined that that beech tree was 30 inches across. And we also decided that we had only 1 16 foot log. When I take the 1 16 foot log over to this point, that tells me that I have 405 board feet, which is my volume of tree. A board foot is equal to 144 cubic inches. I have 405 basically I have 405 board feet in my tree. That tells me how much timber in board feet I would get from this one tree. Now to figure out how much that would be in dollars, I would just have to contact my local forester and find out what the going rate is for a hardwood tree with that much board feet.